Hi, welcome to Mark's Basement Arcade. Today we're going to be doing the mechs underneath this play field. What we're going to be doing is putting these connectors on them to make them quick disconnect. So let's get started with these two. I'll bring the camera down so we can see a little bit better. I'll zoom in and then bring it down so you can see what I'm doing a little bit better. And then I'll bring the camera over. Alright, what we're going to be doing is cutting these wires probably right around this area, and then these two wires right around in this area so we can put connectors on them. The reason why I'm doing this is it makes doing the playfield swap a lot easier, and any future issues with anything, the whole mech now can be taken off and easily replaced. So I'm just going to strip the wires. Alright, give them a little twist. I already did that here. Alright. I just got to get my connectors. They're going to be male and female. I'm going to be using these type of connectors, and they just snap into each other. So, and it doesn't, you don't need to start at any certain end, however you want to do it. You get your crimping tool, put it in there, get a nice crimp on it, which is super nice. Now you can mix and match these connectors too. Put a female on and a male on. And just make sure when you do that, you do the exact same opposite on this connector. So if I put a male here, and on this one I'd want to put a female. Just so when they go together, they are opposite. And I just want to make sure. There, that one's done. These are the female connectors. I did get all these from Pinball Life, and I do not know what the part number was for them. That's where I got these. So I like to support all the vendors, and it just happened to be when I was ordering some parts for Pinball Life, I just got these from them. Now this is the part you need to make sure what you're doing. The pointy end on this connector, you can kind of see it right there, that is orange. So the pointy end of this connector, I also need to make orange. So when I snap back together, they're the same. Now we are number 9. This way, you know, number 9 went plugged back into number 9. And same with number 10, 10, 11, 12. Looks like we're having 12 of them. 13. Unlucky number 13. So we'll do another one. And then I'll do the last remaining couple. And then we'll start removing mechs. Alright, this one. You always want to see where your best connector would be. I'm thinking right about here because this will leave a natural good path. And what I will need to do, I need to plug my soldering iron in. So whenever I get two wires that are going together, I like to solder that connector. It just, I believe it's got a little better connection than the crimp. Because it's got two wires and I cannot get a good solid crimp that I really like on two wires. So I'll crimp the two wires and then I'll add solder to it. And that way I know my wires are solidly good together. And then those I usually make just a little bit longer so I can get a good couple twists on them. These ones I grabbed are females. So now I'm going to solder that connector onto the wires. As soon as I get the other half done. Actually, let's do that first. There. Solder. There. There. Now the wires are, with the crimp, they're soldered onto that connector, so I don't have to worry about crimps falling out or anything, because the two wires are fat and the crimp is smaller. It did crimp both of the wires, which I could have trusted it, but since it's not crimping the case of the wire, I decided to solder it direct, which will make the whole thing one solid entity, if that's how you describe it. I have a garbage can below me, so I'm not just dropping these on the ground. So we'll do just one more, and then I'll get the rest of them done, and then we'll start removing mechs. Show you how easy it is. So I'm going to do these here first, and then I'm going to flip it around and I'll get those sides by myself. These are cold, so they can go. Let's use this holder instead. they're in there nice and solid. But this is just, yeah, how I like to prepare the strip down for underneath. Yeah, I gotta redo that one. The minute I grabbed it, I knocked them loose. One reason is that I didn't strip enough wire off to get a good twist. That is good. Now I'll flow solder down in there to solder the wires to the connector. There. Now you got enough heat when it flows all the way down to the edge. So that connector is good. And now I can move these. Now which one's the black one? The black one goes to the point. And the yellow goes to the square. Now they plug in together, like that, and that would be 10. There. And also too, since I labeled them, this coil is always going to go back to this assembly. Alright. I guess we're going to start taking some mechs off. And then, I guess we'll start taking some mechs off. These, I'll do those off to the side. But we will, yeah, I guess we can start taking mechs off because it doesn't matter anymore. Okay. Dogs are barking. Let me get a box for these and I'll be right back. Alright, I don't have a box, I lied. So we're just gonna start taking these off and putting them where they need to go. Get a container, because flippers are going to be separate than other things. Just going to get the correct screwdriver that I need. See, forgot one thing. I forgot I have the flippers attached still. Otherwise I would have been able to pull that right off. So what do we got? 9/64. No. 1/8. I think 9/64 is Gottlieb? on, somebody put them on. With no intention of them ever to come out. Wow. Also makes it easier when the whole thing is bolted to the playfield. There. Flippers out. Put those in parts box. Now, as you can see, the whole mech comes out real super nice all by itself. So we'll put that under there because we got to disassemble it to clean it. And we'll put these over here so I don't forget them. Let's start doing a pop bumper. Oh, we have to label everything. Where did I put my pen and paper for labeling? Did I put them back over here where I should have? Nope. Oh, they're right here. And this will alright flip. I'll make another one for sling. Let's put this over here so I can see it easier. Flippers. This way when I disassemble the flippers I can put all the flipper parts in a flipper container. And all the slingshot parts will go in a slingshot container. Alright, slingshot's next. We'll get that disconnected. We can put that in there. Let's get the junk out of this. I still have what do you call it? Crumbs from me doing the what do you call it? The media stuff, the walnut shells that I use for polishing. That will go there. That will go there. See, it comes out nice. I'll go down there. Those all have to come apart in pieces. Let's do this. There. I just put a dot on that and that just lets me know what is what. All the screws are the same length. That's one tricky thing about playfield swaps, is that you need to make sure all your screws are the same length. And also with playfield swaps, we're doing a couple things. I forgot. This is going to make my life so much easier if I do this right now. Is swap the diode right now on this. We're doing diodes on everything and caps. So if I put a new diode on it right now, it makes it so much easier because this is still mounted down. It'll make it so much easier for me to do it versus later on. I trim part of this off. make it not as long. We will put the new diode on. I'm going to tin it first. Okay, it's not going to come off easy, so we're just going to do this. There's that. And then there's that. Diodes on. All diodes off. There. So now we got a brand new diode on there that will make that switch work better in its lifetime. Those can come off and come to the side. Those are the same. Yep. Trust me, I've had games where these were shorter and longer. I think Bally is one that plays the game correctly. Yep. They're shorter. Those are shorter, which is crazy. Not by much. You can't even see how much shorter they are. They're shorter. Those are fatter. I mean, yeah, that doesn't make sense. And that's like barely. It's like a credit card shorter on those. If that. That's not going to make too much of a difference, but I'll remember that they're shorter. Because what we want to do is, yeah, it's not going to make any difference. So we have 3 holding down, and these don't need to be longer because they're not doing anything. If anything, these should be, yeah, It's like a credit card thickness. That is not any difference to anything for that. Alright, as you can see, I got the mechs off. Well, a couple of them. We had a couple mechs off and the screws off. Now I'm gonna go around. Well, we could get this off, I guess. And we'll get that off. I'll get a different container for that, because that's not gonna hardly have any screws, and we're only using a couple screws for that. We'll take the whole drop target assembly off. As you can see, I did this the other day. Drop. I also, I'll go through these screws too. Alright. We got two down in the center. Which I am thankful that my screwdriver will go down and fit into. And then, like I said, since we've got all the quick disconnects on it, this whole thing comes off in one piece now. It can be easy worked on, fixed, cleaned, all that cool stuff. Easy now, because we did this. Otherwise, you got to unscrew all this and diddle-daddle around with it, and yeah, not fun. Alright. Those will go there, and yeah, I think I'm gonna go through the rest of the stuff, and then we'll get back to removing things. But yeah, that's just a quick overview on how. Let's get this up. That's just a quick overview on how to start stripping down the underneath of the playfield. As you can see how I put the connectors on to make everything easy, quick disconnect. It's just to make the job easier, and then now how everything comes off super easy. So what I'm going to do is get the rest of the mechs off. The reason why I'm going to stop it is because I want to make a video dedicated for the flippers, and a video dedicated for the pop bumper, a video dedicated just for the slingshots, and a video dedicated just for this this grotto kicker. I want to show full disassemble and rebuild of them. But that is how you start with your mechs on your playfield. This is how I start with the mechs on the playfield. Where if you got your diodes and you're going to replace them, do them while everything is screwed down, because it just makes it easier to replace your diodes and your caps, which I will be going through this whole wiring harness, because every single switch on here has a diode, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 caps that I can see. One's been cut off already. I believe this stand-up switch here had a cap on it too. I'm going to check that for sure, because it just, all the other stand-ups switches got caps on them, so why doesn't this one? But as I feel the wiring on it, it feels like one was cut off. And yes, one was cut off. So I can see the fresh copper snips. So the reason why people cut these caps off is when the caps go bad, you're going to get a phantom switch hit on occasion. Same with the diodes. You're going to have weird switch hit matrix issues. So the caps, you want to replace them. This game, I was told, was working fully, so I trusted him on that. But I said, since you're here, you want me to replace all the diodes and caps? And he's like, yeah, so we're going to do that. But it makes it easier for me to do that right now. As you can see how we did one on there. These aren't going to come off easy, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to solder the new one on and then cut the old one off. It makes it so much easier. And always remember which way your band line is pointing when you cut them off, because that's going to give you a headache if you don't do that. So once I get this Mech off, we're going to next video on playfield teardown will be all about wire management, marking, everything, so we can pull that off in one big loop. This one will be pretty easy to do. It looks like it's going to be complicated, but trust me, it's not. I do have to glue one insert back in that fell out. But otherwise, yeah, this is going to be super easy to do the wiring on here. It's just going to look very hard. What's going to be hard is putting it back together, because we're not replacing all the sockets. We're going with yopsicles. I haven't done them before. They look very easy, but it's going to be different, because normally I do the wiring one way, and now with the yopsicles, they're going to be screwed down first, and then I do the stapling around them differently. So yep, I'm going to start making videos about the pop bumpers and the flipper and slingshot and that kicker. And then we'll be back with the rest. So cool stuff along the bottom. Give me a thumbs up. Take care, and later.